Othello Rolet, international TV superstars, we've just found out, and key account manager at Deliver. Thank you very much for joining the show.
Let me shuffle over. Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. So as you mentioned, international superstar, that might be overcooking it, but key account manager that's on the money. I can tell you a little bit about what I currently do. It's some pretty standard stuff. I'm an account manager for an event called Deliver, which is primarily an events company. It's now a brand. It's got 4 events. The event is a matchmaking one-to-one conference / trade show for transport, logistics, supply chain companies. Matchmake them with high-end retailers from all sectors. And it's a bit like a speed dating thing, you know what I mean? Which is funny because our platform is a bit like a match.com. You know, you've got a profile with a score and everything.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, that's my job is to sell sponsorship, the square meters and etc. Well, the packages actually, because we're all inclusive, as we like to put it. But no, it's good. It's good.
We all like an all-inclusive as well. So how did you get into it before we start? Also, how did we get into event sales? Did you kind of fall into it? Did you what's been the progression?
So I did film and TV at university at Leeds Met. So, and funny enough, I didn't become a footballer. I know, I was so shocked, right? I really thought I would. And I had the trials at Chart and everything, you know, did the whole dance, but everyone was saying you should go into sales and stuff. So look, I wanted to go back to London. And typical was going to go into film or TV, got into sales, and I got into advertising sales. Now, I thought I'd be like doing Mad Men, you know, Don Draper, suiting up, cigarette in the office, cheeky drink. The drink actually was kept up, but really, yeah, it wasn't that at all. It was selling ad space in directory of consumer shows, so more B2C, but some B2B as well. And there you're doing quick transactional stuff. You're selling to one-man bands, sometimes a company. Like we're talking £50, £100, £200, a little transactional. It's, you know, 1 or 2 calls is the cycle. It was good fun. It was good fun. It was, I don't know if I can say this, it was the terms I used to use was like cocaine selling, because I started it at the same time Wolf of Wall Street came out. It was very much, pick up the phones.
Dial,
There was a lot of, pardon?
dial. Yeah.
Yeah, very much like that. Very much writing on the board. Very much, did you hit your target? No, that's slow. You're not having lunch. You know what I mean? Sit in the corner and you don't get lunch. No, I'm joking. That's an extreme. But a lot of drinking as well. You work hard, play hard kind of mentality. From there, because it was a small company, not a lot of growth, I then inadvertently went into events, and I went into a packaging event in Africa called ProPack. And yeah, just kind of started from there. And really from then on, it was at Montgomery. It's pretty much been the same role, just worded differently, maybe different account manager or new biz. It really depends, but the base is all the same. It's all sales.
Nice. You've got the same script, different names, right? There we go.
Basically, yeah. My name's Othello. I work on blank. You know, we can help with blank.
We'll cover that. Okay, so B2C, it's good. I love speaking to sales and marketing people that have also worked in B2C. A lot of you hear the same trends again and again in B2B, so I'm sure you've got a few unique perspectives. Where I want to start, so how we're going to do this is I've got probably 5 questions, kind of like pulled from the themes and challenges that have come up, me personally, but also kind of stuff that I'm hearing. And then we're going to end with a couple of community questions. So questions specifically from the community of people that want answers to those questions. So we'll see how we get on. The first question though, and this is probably my biggest headache, and especially to apply it to your world, is around focus. So I imagine you've got like a tight list of customers and clients you can go to, right? Accounts, should we call them? 100, 200 exhibitors, whatever you want to brand them as. How do you know who to chase hard and who to leave like on the drip? And also, what's the margin of error? Like, is it kind of potluck? Have you got good gauges? I'm starting off a bit hot here. Sorry.
Yeah, the second part is a real doozy. Look, the first one I believe comes with experience. When I first started, I just went in hard all the time. Do you know what I mean? You need to be told, and that's kind of how you're taught. It's a numbers game. I'm also 35, so you know it is different now to when it was when I first started. Even though it's only really been about 12 years, but it is. I think for me, what I like to do, look, we get a lot of incomings. So to identify how much to press, it really comes from that. size of the company, job title. Don't go reaching out to the CEO of Dematic or Geopost. They're not going to respond to you, goodness sake, right?
They're ignoring you too, are they? Damn.
Pardon?
They're ignoring you too, are they?
Oh, you've got, yeah. Geopost, no, Dematic. Oh my Lord. It's actually, I've now gone over from, respectable salesman to, right, what do you want, guys? You know what I mean? Yes. Yeah. It's got to that point. I'm inviting them round to the beach house for a weekend, on my boat.
Whatever it takes, brother. Whatever it takes.
But no, there it's a case of really you've got to identify who needs this event as well. That's the thing, right? Whose metrics, whose numbers. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Everybody does. I mean, the whole thing. But really, whose immediate KPIs, OKRs, whatever you want to call them, let's call them metrics. Whose immediate metrics would be based on something like this, on one of these events. So if you get it in with them, they will then put the pressure for you. So that's really what you want to try and do. And that person, because they will tend to be managerial level, maybe a director, but not on the top end. I don't know. They'll only be part of the decision-making process. You can put a bit of pressure on. So it's more about finding out who's the person, how this show is relevant to them and their KPIs or their metrics. There, you'll be able to gauge how much pressure you can. If they don't need the show that much, then you just kind of give them a whiff.
Sure. Mark them in the CRM, follow up later. So on that, and I got another question on that a bit later, so I'll try and keep the follow-on questions to a minimum. But how much of that falls on you? And every organization is different, but this is more about your unique workflow. How much of you do the research, like the account scoring, or I don't know how cool you get with it, and how often is it given to you, like by maybe marketing? Or, you've probably got tools and technologies. Do you kind of bring any of that in?
Yeah, we do our own research, really.
Right.
It's for us to go and hunt and fish. I think it's always really been like that. I've never had like a qualifier or someone doing things like this. You'll get marketing, you obviously get incomings, you get our retail team, the ones who recruit the retailers will get certain people coming in as retailers and they'll go, look, this looks like a vendor. But it's still up to us to, I guess, convert that or, justify it as a vendor, because obviously we then have to ask money if they thought they could get in for free, it's like, well, hang on, why can't I go for free? But it's always been like that. You always hunt. It always helps because then you get to understand the business, the individual before you're speaking. We were talking just before about not doing the research, and it really does put you in a situation. So you just got to throw things out. And then sometimes you'll get sales support. But what is really the sweet spot is you get your clients to work for you. You get them to help identify partners. Yeah, we also work with so and so. I didn't know they did that. Yes, they do. Let me put you in touch with them. And that's how actually
Interesting.
I've done a lot of business like that. So I would say I've turned about maybe 5 or 6 clients into 10 clients through doing that.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Also, just a little caveat, I feel like the way the world's going as well, almost kind of you're like I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, mate, but like the complete salesman, where because people with technology now as well, a lot of companies that we speak with, it always used to be, right, you've got appointment setters, you've got the closers, and then you've got kind of customer success, and it got passed along. Whereas there's an argument going around now with technology, basically the one man or woman should be able to manage that whole process and retain them, because a lot of it will be coming inbound. And like you said, I think there's always been a bit of a disconnect with appointment setters, because they might do the research and then hand it off, and someone like you whose job it is to close it, almost you've got to redo the whole process again, so it's not very efficient.
It's
Event
so
sales might be where it's at.
No, I was just thinking, it's so funny you say that because recently I just got some jabs done, right? And somebody started the consultation and then they had to go. And I do not like to be passed on, even if it's, for an actual
Yeah.
reason. I'm I'm very much a creature of habit and I like my surroundings to be the same. And certainly in a age, because we act as agents, really, you know what I mean? Your event agent, let's call it that. I would want it to be the same person the whole time. You're the first person who reached out. And also, it just makes it a bit more cold. It's like, oh, this person told me that you're relevant to my world. Yeah, I don't know. Whilst, hey, I did the research and you're relevant to my world, just has a bit more intimacy to it. Kicks off on a better foot, or kick starts on a better foot, right? You know what I'm trying to say.
Would you say trying to find your feet in your industry, like in the early days, is quite brutal? Because, like you said, now when you've obviously worked hard and you've got up to the point where you manage accounts now, which is kind of almost a different type of sell as to like getting a new biz. Well, I guess it's still new business, but like working through your partners, as you said. Is it have you got any? Well, my second question, this leads into my second question, which is you're calling people probably who get hammered with sponsorship pitches, right? For
Mhm.
every event that's going on. It's like, how do you make your event like almost sound different? And I think this is also relevant for the people in our community who always have the question, and it might be little private lunches. It might be private dinners. So not like mass scale, but they all have the same question, which is how do you get people to your events? So have you got any kind of tips there?
It's a good question, and I don't think there is a one answer, and I think it's certainly it's more.
Hire Othello to do the sale.
Yeah. Um, what was really so for us is what was our kind of unique selling point and what made it different was our job titles. Obviously, somebody will say, well, look, it's all good sending me a document with all the great job titles and all the great brands because we offer free service. So, what I'm saying is the vendors will pay a little bit extra, our clients will pay a little bit extra with our packages so that we can cover the cost of travel and the cost of accommodation for our retailers and also for our vendors, not the travel, but the accommodation. What that does is it's little tidbits. You get free accommodation. Look, between us, you're only really saving 1 to 250 quid. It's just the person's like, oh my God, amazing. I don't have to deal with accommodation. Well, really, you still do because no one comes and stays for a night. It's a 2-day show, right? So you're still doing extended the days, but it just creates this illusion. It's the same thing as the 9.99, right? It's like that's £10, but that's 9.99. Yes, better. It isn't really. You're not going to do much with the penny. But it's the same thing here. It's creating an illusion of value and also value. You have to create the value. What I'm saying is, how do you stand out? Because everyone's going to say my product has value. Well, you've got to create an illusion of a better value. Because that's really what it is. Because everyone's doing pretty much the same thing in some capacity. So ours will be the names. We've got great names, yeah. So does these guys. So do those guys, yeah. And
Mm.
we also got a freebie hotel room, free food, free coffee. We just take away a lot of the stress. That's worth a lot. Cool.
That it could be that's gold because
Yeah.
you've flipped it on its head. Everyone I think automatically goes like, how can we make our event the best? What do we need to add? Well, actually, if you've got one core value prop, which in your case would be the names, or it could be, hey, you've got a speaker at dinner, or you're like it's going to be peer to peer. The real question you should be asking yourself, which I've never thought about, is how can you remove the headaches around it? You don't need to keep adding. It's like you just need to remove the friction to get them to buy.
That's it. And we work with them literally from A to Z, the whole process. And we are there. So again, it adds value. And when I say the illusion of value, it's one of those where, well, really, as a client, if I need my person, it doesn't matter whether you're shop talk, manifest, or deliver, you should be there for me, right?
Mm.
But the fact that I'm not a sales manager, I'm an account manager. You need help with the hotel? I'm there. You need help with the meetings? I'm there. With the travel? I'm there. Oh my Lord, these guys, the guardian angels, whatever, you know. But as mentioned, really, everyone should be doing that. That is your right as a client to have support from the company. It's just how you perceive it, how you put it across as well.
It's all coming back to that full service as well, like no handoffs. It's like, hey, I'm Othello and I'm your man, and I'm gonna sort everything out for you, which I quite like.
Yeah, we're really good. And I'm very hands-on with my clients as well. I'm not such a good killer sales person in that sense. I'm more of a grower, right? So I'll take a client from a level 1 to a level 5. That's an extra. We're talking an extra like 150K, right? Something like that. Maybe even 200. Yeah, an extra 200K, as opposed to that cocaine selling stuff. I've done that now. I'm not. No, I'm
Yeah.
like in Mad Men, the guy with the grey hair with the Lucky Stripe. That's me. I'm Lucky Stripe. I don't want to deal with it. The other cigarette companies.
These things, yeah. Well, on that, you're doing my job for me, to be fair, because my other question, because we spoke the other day, is around like upselling, right? So obviously, everyone gets curveballs, whether it's like, oh, they're going to get the deal over the line, whatever it may be. And like if you're managing accounts, and you've got consistent accounts, and maybe they're slightly larger, like bigger enterprises and stuff, and you've predicted they were going to come through with, I don't know, 100 grand, and actually they've only placed down 20 grand or something. What in your line of work, I guess, or just in general, where do you think the biggest breakdowns are with the upsell? Like, what are the biggest internal objections that, um, or like objections you get thrown your way, and how do you manage that? And like, maybe if there is a way to kind of bounce back and encourage them to spend more, is there like a payment plan, like a leverage? Is there
Yeah,
value?
payment plans help. I mean, the problem with payment plans is sometimes they can be for one or it really depends what they have forecast. If they know money's coming in, payment plans work well. If it's still a question mark, then they're like, yeah, well, I still not have the money. It's a good question. Now, value. It's all about value. The first thing I was ever taught, and it stuck with me, and to be fair, it's pretty self-explanatory, but everyone loves an analogy, but it's like this. My first boss ever, his name was Quill Cheney, he used to work at Haymarket, very much, very much like, what, you don't want this benefit, you're a mug kind of selling, but he said it's never about price, it's always about value. Othello, I've got a new car. It costs £3,000. Well, I don't really have 3 grand on a new car. I bought a nice little Honda Civic out there. It does me just sweet. Fellow, I've got a new car. It's 3 grand. It's a McLaren. Well, now we're talking, right? That's different. I'm going to find you the 3 grand for the McLaren. Okay. So it's the same thing with every single product. And really with sponsorship, it's that. Whilst with the upsells, so our main meat and potatoes is the meetings, the one-to-one meetings. That's an easy way to identify where I'm going to make my money. Of course, there's always the risks of sales, but it's like, right, I know that there's a C level, D level exec there. So when I meet them, that's going to be a fruitful conversation. Been looking for that company for a while. That's going to be a fruitful conversation. A banner, a speaking session. You don't know who's going to come to a speaker session. A banner, you don't know the response you're going to get for that. So a lot of it is trying to get them to identify the value in
Mm,
everything you do because you've sold them the product, but on the other hand, they've already bought into it. So there's that. It's a right balance between a sense of entitlement. Hang on, I've already bought into your thing and you want to take more. So
yeah.
you don't want to seem like a vampire, but there's also from our side that, well, hang on a second, this person who's already interested in our product, right? We have more to offer. These things that we do offer do benefit you when they come off. But like everything, it's a risk. If it wasn't a risk, it just wouldn't, you'd question it. So that's really the biggest challenge. And how you actually overcome that challenge is, well, you ask them what they've done in the past, what's worked, what's working for them now. You use
Mm,
comparisons. Um, you ask them how they measure success at an event. Some of them just go, I want banners because we're a big company and we need the world to know. Cool. So sweet as enough. Some people I need the data. So I need something that farms data. Some people want,
interesting.
yeah, some people's CEO wants to get on stage and just tell us how great he is or she is.
All right, all right, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
The what I quite like, it's really fascinating talking to more salespeople in more recent times. Like as I said, we've gone down that marketing route for a long time because I think a lot of marketing people, and I've fallen into trap many times, I still do. It's like, right, hey, you've got this complex deal. What's the solutions? What can I think of? Like, where can I add value? Your head immediately went to the client. Like, hey, I'm not going to come up with the solutions. I'm going to get them to come up with the solutions and then just work it around them. And I think that is really, really important because also for marketers as well, it's like you don't need all the answers. Your customer has all the answers. Just ask them and then take their words and flip it on its head to get stuff done. And it sounds simple, dude,
No, of
but
course.
it's
Of course. But you've nailed it there, with marketing. It's like we've got these guys and this and that and this. It's like I was saying earlier, when you don't do your research on a company and you go, we've got Nike coming to our show. Nike's not one of my clients. Oh damn, I mean, again, questions is great. You always want to do a little bit of research, but that's really nail on the head. I'm learning from you.
yeah. Well, no, I'm just using your words against you. It makes me look all right, doesn't it? The okay, so on that, I was going to ask stuff around because we spoke before about like creative follow ups and how you're like you should never be like just following up in like different ways. But I want to kind of jump to the question I had after that because it's more flowy. based on what we've just said, which is around internal blockers. So part of the reason why I've started interviewing salespeople is there's always that tension between marketing and sales. And I think from what you've just said, I think the solution might be marketing just need to be speaking with more customers directly or joining calls with you so they can hear it from, like, a salesperson does the job, but the marketer hears it directly and there's no like Chinese whispers. I don't even know if you can
Yeah.
call it that more, but like up the chain. What do marketing and content and stuff, how do they help you is the question, and how do they slow you down, and what's pointless?
Okay, so first of all, marketing is never pointless, and I want to say that on record. Okay,
And now let's get to the good stuff. Yeah.
and obviously, different marketing departments would probably say different things. For me,
Yeah.
the check, like from a sales standpoint and from my company standpoint, we send a lot of salesy emails highlighting what we have and the things. And it's like, look, guys, between us, they kind of know now we have a great audience and we have this and we get these numbers and we've got speaker sessions and opportunities. Where I where marketing benefits is it's got a massive reach. They obviously are very good wording things. They know what triggers people, what triggers people's interest, what are pop words, their little methods. I think people are more open to speaking to marketeers than salespeople because you feel safe with a marketeer. You don't feel always safe with a salesperson because you obviously know they're going to sell me something. So I think that's the big one. And I think people can't underestimate that people feel a lot safer with a marketing. They get annoyed at marketing emails, like sales emails, but if I'm talking to a marketer, I'm hoping there's not going to be a transaction at the end of it, potentially. So they're good. They are good. They do have their benefits and, they can sometimes get great leads incoming and things like that. Where ours gets a bit annoying is they just target the sales side. And I'm like, look, guys, we're trying to sell a product, a specific product, because let's say case studies, roundtable speaker sessions. We're trying to sell them. For telling me that they went really well at this event and they worked well. Let's do something that's catered to that. Get some pictures in there with some figures. Do you know what I mean? Because we're trying to sell that product. You're just selling the idea of deliver and what everything comes with it. No. It's like when you you book a holiday with a travel agent or something, right? What do they first do? They say, hey, here's your holiday. Hotel, flights, book. Do you want a car? Well, I didn't think of that. Do you want a shuttle? Oh, I didn't think of that. Do you want a little tour guide, little package thing? Well, I didn't think of that. But they don't go, here's everything. Just pick and choose. They do it in bite size. They get you in and then they say, and that's obviously how you upsell. So marketing, or certainly our marketing, could do better in that sense. But as I said, they've also got their benefits because we do it from a sales standpoint. But again, this is where the trust comes in. When we come in, because our packages are quite pricey, we've already gone back and forth, especially with myself. The person feels, right, it's done. Some of these negotiations feel like a goddamn football transfer. They're going back and forth so much, back and forth so much. So when it gets done, to then come back and go, oh, by the way, do you want the extra warranty or whatever? It's like, oh, for goodness sake, Othello, you've leached already 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus K off me. You want more. If marketing send the email, you then go in, oh, I didn't think about that. Yes, you've already spent 70K, but you're making the decision. You've got the control, or so you think.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. Again, from the other side, I think it to use your words, is the disconnect is marketing are great at kind of top of funnel, like brand awareness sort of play. And it happens across every organization, not just yours. They focus less and they should be focusing more on bottom of the funnel. Like once they're in the system, how can we either get the deal over the line? What content and stuff helps them get it over the line? And like in your case, I guess, like what products can we upsell once they're already in there? And I think that's also a trend that's happening as well, because a lot of marketing teams were originally measured on leads and pipeline, like made up pipeline numbers. But actually, I think a lot of marketing teams now are getting a revenue number fixed on them based on like closed deals, which I think makes
Yes.
a sense, because it almost solves that problem. Because it's really nice to create that big blue sky thinking show kind of documentation, right? But not so much the bottom stuff. It's a bit more gritty and harsh. Othello, we've run over slightly. Have you got 10 more minutes?
Yeah. All good.
Cool. All right, nice. Well, I'll ask you one more question and then we'll get into the community questions that I've got, which around is like the creative follow-up. what are some of the like the creative follow-ups? So again, we've spoken a lot about like value, kind of dicing up the menu, finding what we can bring into it. So it's more of like a case study kind of question. Have you ever had some crazy follow-up like idea of managed to reactivate a dormant client? Because I know a lot of companies right struggle.
That is a good question. Okay. It's not so much, I don't think it's the way. Okay. Yeah. There is ways to follow up. Have I got creative? I would have to rack my brain a little bit there because there's none that really sticks out. The one that I have done, if I guess I've gone to like social events and then
Right.
from there, you know what I mean? So let me just,
You're all good. You're all good. It wasn't like, oh, I'll plug your name on first dates for my next TV appearance. I'll plug your brand name.
oh, God, no, yeah. Although I should, that it has been an in the past. I mean, or not an in, it's been a conversation starter.
Yeah.
I I tell you what was the one that I had a client and I was trying to get and I had them in. I had them
Yeah.
in. I was trying to make them go big, right? They were on what we call a level one. And I couldn't really get even plant the idea of going bigger. And
Right.
then I went to Amsterdam. It was one of those where I'm talking to him and Dortmund, he's a Dortmund fan, and Dortmund were in the Champions League final. And he couldn't, and because he had delivering stuff, I don't know why, but he was going to Amsterdam a bit early. So I went to Amsterdam a bit early. Like, did the old, oh, I've got to be there as well. I didn't at that time. Bumped into him, kind of. I didn't do like a live location. I just kind of WhatsApped him, you know what I mean? And then we started watching the game. And as we're watching the game, we talk about Dortmund and stuff. And he starts, racking my football knowledge. And I've got a bit of ball knowledge, especially from the streets and stuff. We start talking about their 1990, I want to say 7 triumph. It might have been 6 or 7, but last reckon. Anyway, his eyes light up. You can tell he's not had a conversation like this in a while. All of a sudden, when I see him again on Monday, Tuesday, the budgets have loosened up, the liver's a bit more. You know what? I might do that opportunity you were talking about, the bigger one, right? So what I'm saying it's this thing is, I know you, there's no right or wrong way. And that one is a bit more, it was easier because I already had the in with the person. But
Yeah.
it's about that next level of trust, right? You have to build those levels of trust. No one's going to sign with you in the first interaction. That would be goddamn ludicrous. Stay away from that person. They're probably not going to pay. You know what I mean? But they need to see something in you to go, right, I need to take it to the next level with this person. Whether it's, doing something out of the ordinary. Another quick example, I reached out to Uber after a friend of mine from school way back. We were just talking. He works in cybersecurity. He was talking to me that they'd just been hacked. And I was like, oh, that's got to do logistics because it was Uber Freight and Uber Direct. So I just thought shot in the dark. So that one wasn't really approach. It was more timing, but they are basically interchangeable. Bit of a long-winded answer, but that's really what I've got for you.
Well, no, I mean it's really bang on the money, and it's the They always say it's the unscalable things that actually make anything scalable. My friend Martin, very good friend, he used to work at Eventbrite, and that's over in the US, UK, whatever. And he's once said to me, it's like, oh, if I go to the US, even if I'm on holiday, I will purposely just go for a quick 30 minutes or an hour with some of the team over there, purely because that international connection, not even like in England would be great, right? But as soon as you're overseas and you have a meeting, it almost like 100x's the impact of, I had that meeting with Othello, and it kind of like gives you a lot more grace. So I try and do that now with like people I interview as well. If I'm in the area, now you know my own thing. I'd go for a beer with you anyway, but it really like solidifies it. So I think
It's so true. It's so true.
and also, if you went to a new city, so say you went to like Bristol or something for the day, and your 10 of your clustered accounts were there, right, based there or something, you could say, hey, I'm in Bristol. It's probably worth a work trip, hitting up those 10 people and seeing which ones are around for like a lunch or something, just to kind of,
Always. Yeah, I always try and do that. People gotta feel loved as well. It's a difficult one though, because you want to find that balance of who do you want to show love to, the CEO or COO or CFO, the person paying,
yeah.
you probably don't meet them or have the relationship with them, especially in the big, myself now with the bigger clients. Do I do it with the head of the salesperson, the VP of sales, who is the one commanding the service that we provide, i.e. the meetings,
Yeah, yeah,
because they will be the one that feeds it back to the CEO or CFO and say, this is the business, this is the money, we got to do it. Or do you take out your POC who's doing all the legwork, who you'll be having a relationship with, you'll be nagging, you'll be, you need them as much as they need you to get things done so that the client has a good show, so that the VP of sales says, great, let's go. So you also know some clients are just, yeah, whatever about it, cool. Some people really it is work, and some people, and it's a culture thing here. I've got an Italian client. She loves it, man. She's like CMC, name's Tanya. She's a great laugh. If there's something going on, she wants it. She's there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
nice.
what's that breakfast? It's like, oh, it's for interns. I want in. It's like, you got to be 18. I'm 18. I'm in.
You got to turn up. Got to turn up. That's interesting. I'm going through that right now with our product. It's like we know who the budget holders are, but then we know who's using the product, and it's like you've got a multi-thread to some degree. But if you had to focus your time in on who is it, and that is quite a challenge. I guess you've got to just work all accounts up together.
You got to see it yourself. Which juice is worth the squeeze?
Yeah. Right. Just because I'm conscious of time, we'll do quick fire for the last three. Really quick fire. So the question came in.
Up to you, but I've got till past, so don't worry.
Sound. This question came in from Nadia Davis over at Caliber Mind. She's the VP or CMO at Caliber Mind. She goes, does AI personalized outreach help you cut through the noise, or just does it add to the noise of other exhibitors drowning in it? So I've modified it a bit, but basically her thought, she wants your opinion on AI personalized outreach.
I mean, it's always good for like post show or something. Look, anything above kind of, trying to think, we use Apollo, which does, sequences. But again, you start using AI and stuff, and what you don't want is to nag them. And I'm reaching out to some pretty high up people, and we're talking big deals and big budgets. You've got to go personal, man. So I don't want to start shooting it down and say no to AI, because I am a big fan of it and I believe it can help. I just think, and if you're doing small ticket items, for example, as I was saying about sponsorship, you want to tell everyone about our sponsorship deals, go AI. You know what I mean? Especially marketing, right? What I'm saying is, if I'm trying to announce to my pool of people something generic, then fair enough, I'll use AI or I'll use an Apollo sequence. But if it's personal, or if it's newsworthy, I just sent 26 emails about hotels. I had a structure where they pretty much said the same thing, but then you just add one or two little bits, like thingy's not going to be next to the colorful gentleman, just some nonsense. But that really helps, because you've got to remember, everyone knows, I don't know if you know the term kayfabe. I think it's kayfabe or K5. Basically, kayfabe is the term they use in WWE wrestling, where if the Undertaker comes out as the Undertaker, not Mark Cullen, I think his name is, or whatever his name is, you treat him as the Undertaker, right? But we all know it's a human, not an undead, whatever. Well, it's the same thing, kayfabe here. We all know it's a sales process. We all know why I'm here. We all know why you're here, and we all know what the end game is. However, let's make it enjoyable along the way. Let's make it honest. Let's make it pleasant.
I like that. On my sales calls as well, I probably shouldn't really give this away, but like every time I'm like, do I have permission to be direct with you as well? Like, set the expectations up. It's like, hey, this is semi-serious. You're like, gotta believe that you want to have a beer with me, but let's just kind of go through this process. Okay, nice. Next two questions. Ali Miller, with thousands of attendees and hundreds of exhibitors, which signals do you focus on? He basically, his question is, what signals do you rely on to tell you if someone's a good fit or not? And then applying it to your world, like, how do you know which exhibitors are ready to go bigger? Is it people that have published, I don't know, revenue numbers? Are they like hiring more people? And then likewise, I guess, are there any signs to tell if people are going to churn out as customers? It's a difficult question.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a black and white here. I believe you've got to kind of gauge it with your experience. So, for example, that I've got easy metrics, but I need you through the door. Once you're through the door, if you pick 20 meetings and I can see that you're scratching for more meetings, then I'm going to upsell you. I mean, that's easy. Sometimes you also know when a company's holding out budget on you just because of who they are. I've got Uber spending not as much as really they should. Arvato, that's the big one, spending nowhere near as much as they should, but they don't really do marketing. So it's my job to really find, the products that they think they should actually break the rules for. But, someone like that, is quite fragile. Someone like an American company like Uber do a lot of the sponsorship. What is it? DP World do a lot of sponsorship. Who else? Then when you get partnerships or you get companies shifting things. So for example, I think we were talking about them the other day. One of my big stories, what are they called? Success stories was Ciro, which was started as Unexpress. Then it was Ciro. They went from 20K investment to 175 plus K investment.
Good work.
Now they've just partnered up with GoFo Express. So we've got to do a little thing there. That's going to be more brand awareness, to let everyone know about the shift. You just got to be in the know of what's going on, the timing, um, and just gauge it from in here almost. You know what I mean? That one's a doozy. That one's a real doozy. I hope I've given some all right examples, but yeah, there's no sweet spot there.
I mean, it's different for every company, and for your industry, I bet there's even more variables, right? Because it's events are affected by other departments not performing and whatnot. Question 9, final question from Arnaud Lagarde. Hope I've pronounced that right. Arnaud, he is VP of Revenue. He asked, what is one tool or piece of technology that has actually made you better at selling, not just busier? So obviously, you mentioned Apollo, which is like a data enrichment tool. I use Apollo, it's good. But I think his question is more to do with is it the gift of the gab? Like the actual process of you selling to someone, like how do you practice basically, and any tools and tech there that help you do that?
No, I mean, I kind of, there's no such thing as perfect, of course, but I practiced my pitch in the days where technology was, a lot of bosses were still like, hey, you can't beat a human touch. And
All right.
yeah, I've got a film for you. Have you seen Terminator? It's like, yes, I know, I'll be back. Not going to take over. So the one thing I'd say really for me is I've never had issues in the face-to-face and things like this. It's always been on the admin side. The admin side has to be top notch. I can't remember if we've covered this, but a big thing that I was taught, I don't know if I should say it, but Raoul Monks, he's a great guy. He did, I can't remember what, film training, film as in with an E at the end, flume training. But what he said to me was, for us, isn't that?
Well, I met Raoul at an event once, I think. Yeah, he's a smart bloke.
Yeah, tell him I said hi if you ever see him again. He probably won't remember me, to be fair. But he said, now there's about, and it's true, there's about 5.6 people in the decision-making process. And it's true, it's very rare that there's a one deciding everything, because that's too much pressure for one person. Unless, of course, that's the structure. What I mean is, so when you do a proposal or write an email, when you pitch, you're pitching the person in front of you. But when you put it in a doc in writing, it's going now to someone you've not met, and they're doing the pitching for you, right? And this is when I go back to the first thing I said about how important is what you provide to that individual. If they think that they can get their bonus by just attending your show and sending the right salespeople, they're going to be like, boss, we got to go. Right. But when a doc is sat down there, it's got to be tippy top for the boss. Right. So that was a long-winded way to say most AI writing tools and things like that, sentence structures, certainly a chat GPT, something like that, something that supports you along the way, has been more effective than anything else, I'd say, for me.
Yeah, everyone's different. Yeah. That's a good answer, I'd say. Right, Othello, I think I will leave it there because I've got a lot of follow-on questions. But my final question to you is: do you have a question for our next guest? And they will, I think he might be senior account exec or VP of revenue at Revolut, but don't quote me on that. But they will be a salesperson. But feel free to, if you've got a question for marketing as well, give it to me, and I'll ask it to some people and get back to you with some answers.
Yeah, I'll have a think about that because I'll have a think. That's interesting, and I don't want to ask something nonsensical. So
Sure, man.
give me a minute, and I'll get it to you by hopefully end of the week or maybe early next week if that's okay.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, of course it is. Well, Mr. Rolet, thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much. This was amazing, lovely stuff. I hope the answers weren't too boring or long winded.
Superb. Right.